cast of literally thousands and more than 300 sets, some of which were under construction a full year before the first frame of film was ever shot. Art director Edward Carfagno was one of the first to arrive to supervise construction of the sets. Years of research had gone into their elaborate design. The massive sets would eventually win Carfagno an Oscar. He and his then 19-year-old son Edward Jr. documented much of the early production with their home movies.
My father knew he was going to be there for quite a while, so had it arranged that we would go over and live with him while he was there. So we were going to go to school. I think he was proud of the whole thing. The set for Arias's party was quite a spectacular set. That came off very well. Actually, that set took up pretty much all of the stage. The fountains worked, and it was quite large. Things like Ben Hur's house, that was on a wood frame with stucco that was then dressed and painted to look like stone. The stadium, bottom, as I recall, 7 feet of the walls surrounding the course were built of stone, because the chariots were so heavy if they had runaways. I think they weighed about 700 pounds apiece. That was quite a thing to try and stop, so that was stone. The city of Jerusalem alone covered 10 square blocks, including the massive gate of Joppa. By the time the sets were completed, the construction crews had used 40,000 cubic feet of lumber, more than 1 million pounds of plaster, and 250 miles of metal tubing. 40,000 tons of white sand were carried in from the beaches of the Mediterranean. Meticulous research also went into the dressing of the sets.
One funny thing happened with the art department. I took a friend of mine, an archaeologist, to see the sets. And we went into Mrs. Ben Hur's kitchen, and there in the kitchen was a very large, ripe tomato. And my friend said, oh, he was an English guy. Tomato's not been invented yet, you know. I said, what do you mean it's not invented? Well, it comes from the New World, you know, with Columbus. Wouldn't be a tomato. So I talked to the art man. He said, I've got to have something red there. I said, try a pepper. Not invented, said the Englishman. They hadn't invented red peppers. I don't know what we had that was red there, but there was something red on that table. And then they were so proud, and announcements were going out. This Jerusalem is the Jerusalem of Jesus Christ. He could move through this city and feel that he was absolutely at home. He would know where to go and order a pizza, which, by the way, was a contemporary dish.
Rather than shooting the sea battle on the open ocean, which had proved disastrous in the 25 version, Carfagno supervised the digging of a man-made lake. They even built sections of 2 Roman galleys. It took 300 oarsmen to power each of these massive battleships.
Steersman, ram course. Order below, ramming speed. Ramming speed! Steersman right.
Water is one of the most difficult illusions, and it was quite successfully done in the sea battle of Ben Hur. The miniatures were quite large. It was done in a big tank with underwater tracks, and these tracks would then move the ships along.
The costume design was elaborate. Silk, jewelry, armor, and lace were ordered from all over the world. After spending a year in England embroidering woolens and tooling leathers, the designers moved their headquarters to the Cinecittà studios in Rome, where more than 100 seamstresses, armorers, and leather makers were employed. With work on the sets and costumes well underway, producer Sam Zimbalist, director William Wyler, and the rest of the production staff traveled to Rome to begin shooting. But there was a slight hitch: the script.